Go into City Hall, or they're going to go to their polling places next Tuesday, and they're going to ask this question: should they be voting yes on ballot questions 3 and 4? My hope is that when people make that decision, they will be thinking of the many benefits that come from a yes vote, and they will be weighing it against any downside. On the benefit side, I see a number of very substantial positive benefits. Voting yes is a win for the environment. Voting yes is a win for jobs. Voting yes is a win for keeping property taxes low by growing our property tax base. Voting yes is a win for transforming this building we're in, this 1970s suburban mall, into a mixed-use neighborhood that ensures that our downtown is going to be vibrant and strong and sustainable for years into the future. I've been saying a lot of this of late, and I think almost all of you here have heard me say just about those words. So I appreciate being joined today by some new voices and some others to share their perspective on this important community decision. The first person we're going to hear from is Greg Marchildon, who is the Executive Director for AARP Vermont, and is one of the groups that is part of the Together for Progress coalition that has been getting the word out about these decisions in recent weeks. So Greg, thank you for being with us today.
AARP Vermont supports the proposed redevelopment of the Burlington Town Center, and for many of our members in Burlington, there are simply not enough housing units in the downtown core to meet the demand of people that want to move downtown and live downtown. Our members need more housing choices that are situated downtown, close to shopping, to restaurants, the library, the UVM Medical Center, and a range of support services. They need to be able to walk and be able to bike safely, be able to catch the bus safely so that they can get around. All of these things are essential to people in midlife and retirement, and particularly as they age on. So with 270 total units, 54 of them being affordable, and with the universal design principles being incorporated throughout the town center, this is really a no-brainer for us and for many of our members over 50. I'd like to say, too, for my parents, for example, who are longtime Burlington residents. They live in a 2-story house. They are thinking that it's probably time for them to get out of a 2-story house. They would like to move to Burlington's downtown core. They would like to stay in Burlington. They love Burlington. There isn't a single place on the market right now for them to purchase. We need many more housing options for people that are aging. This is the second oldest state in the nation. The fastest growing portion of people in Vermont are people 82 years and over, and we are kidding ourselves in Burlington if we don't think we need more housing options, more affordable housing options, and much more opportunity for people to move and live in the downtown area. Thank you.
Thank you, Greg. We are also joined today by one of the members of the broad coalition that is supporting a yes vote on 1, 2, 3, and 4. It's a coalition that, as we've just heard, includes seniors advocates. It also includes environmentalists. It includes affordable housing members, affordable housing leaders. It includes the business community. We are very appreciative to have Brenda Tropy, the Executive Director for the Champlain Housing Trust, with us again today. Brenda, thank you for standing up for these important ballot questions. Thank you.
Well, happy to. It is a great achievement to have 55 permanently affordable homes built in what's probably the state's most valuable urban property. This is what housing access and inclusion looks like. Of course, there's much more housing planned here, regular apartments that will also serve working people who will benefit by living in the heart of the city. Gentrification occurs when cities plan against new housing in their centers. And this kind of restraint on housing production is a major contributor to the nation's housing shortage. This is also what planet-friendly housing looks like. Small units in a multifamily building with dense and compact land use, set in the heart of the city, allowing for the growth of public transport and a lower dependency on cars. These are the highest measures of green construction, and embracing them creates great cities, livable cities, and more affordable ones. We have to face the fact that we will not have equitable cities if we refuse to accept larger, taller buildings that bring more people into the heart of the city at lower cost and lower environmental impact. Burlingtonians have the opportunity to put their social and environmental values into practice by supporting this project. Please do it and cast your vote as yes for ballot items 1 to 4 on Election Day. Thank you.
Thank you, Brenda. Next up, we have a longtime leader, both as a state representative and as a city councilor from the New North End, Kurt Wright, who is here to talk in particular about the impact of voting yes on 3 and 4 on property taxes. Kurt, thank you for being part of this coalition.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Appreciate it. So as I'm going door to door right now in the New North End, I have that opportunity running for re-election to the legislature. I'm having the opportunity to get a chance to chat with folks on a door-to-door basis every single day. And what I hear from people in the New North End, the biggest issue for them is taxes. And it is disheartening to me to talk to families who've lived in the New North End all their lives and tell me that they don't think they can afford to continue to live in the New North End in Burlington because it's expensive. People are talking about putting their houses up for sale in the next year or two and moving either out of Burlington or out of the state of Vermont. So these families are not looking to see city services cut. They are looking to see Burlington become more affordable. So if we're not going to cut city services and everybody wants their neighborhoods to remain intact, my view is that something has to give. And what has to give is we have to grow our economy and expand our tax base. And this proposal has the ability to do that. I love a good debate, and I love a good debate that's on the merits of a case, that's about the facts and then about people's opinions. What also disheartens me in this debate, though, is that people in the New North End have heard from opponents with literature put on their doorsteps that has them thinking that this is actually going to be a tax increase, that it's going to increase their taxes. A woman on a street on Curtis Avenue said to me a couple of nights ago, "Kurt, how much are my taxes going to go up when I pay my tax bill? How much are they going up as a result of if I vote for this?" And of course the answer is 0. There is going to be no negative tax implications by voting for questions 3 and 4. And I really, that's the part that disheartens me also, is misinformation. To pretend that we have a pot of money that's sitting there that can be used for our schools is just simply a falsehood. So I'm all for having a debate about the height and whether the benefits that we get back from additional height in this one section here that's been identified as the appropriate site for development. I'm all for that debate, but I'm not for a debate that actually makes people think something's going to happen that it's not. So what I'm trying to convince people as I go door to door is the fact that we are going to see it is good for taxpayers to vote for 3 and 4 because there'll be no tax increase, and over time this is going to have the ability to not only stabilize taxes in Burlington, but I believe actually reduce them. If we vote no on this, if Burlington voters next Tuesday decide to vote no on questions 3 and 4, in my view, we'll have missed an incredible opportunity that I think will only come along once in a lifetime for a $250 million investment in downtown Burlington. So saying no to this will mean, I believe, and this is my opinion, but I think it's grounded in some fact, that we will continue to see an erosion of our tax base downtown, and over time, that's what will mean tax increases for the citizens of Burlington, not voting yes on questions 3 and 4. So I strongly urge the citizens of the New North End, where I live, and all across the city, that if you're concerned about property taxes, if you're concerned about affordability in Burlington, to vote yes on 3 and 4, move Burlington forward, vote for progress, and vote to make Burlington a more affordable city. Thank you.
Thank you, Kurt. Next, we have Joan Shannon, another longtime member of the City Council, one who hasn't always in the past necessarily been a supporter of height increases and development, but she has been an extremely strong supporter of this proposal since the start. So thankful for your support, Joan, and partnership on this and so many issues. And Joan was going to talk a little bit about how she got to this point on this project.
Thank you, Mayor Weinberger. Yes, it's been a process. Some people will vote yes because they like tall buildings, but I'm definitely not one of them. And some people will vote yes because the affordable housing component that can be included in the tall buildings is important to them, and I'm all for affordable housing, but that's also not going to do it for me. Some people will vote yes because taller, denser buildings are good for the environment, and I definitely consider myself an environmentalist, but still can't quite get there with just that. So I'd like to tell you how I did get to yes, and it's been a very long process. Starting in 2008 when we did the zoning rewrite and a proposal was put forward to increase the heights throughout our downtown. I voted no because I couldn't really get on board with the concept of just increasing height across the board, hoping for the best to happen and not having a lot of consideration for the views and our landscape of our downtown. That was a very, very contentious time. And it's really nice that at this point, some of us who were very much at odds with each other then have come together on what I think is a better plan today. In 2009, Councilor Paul, Councilor Kaplan, and myself came forward with a resolution to create a downtown plan. That resolution is what launched Plan BTV, which was a multi-year process to look at our downtown and figure out where is it appropriate to have taller buildings. Some have Plan BTV in 2013, we then adopted that as our municipal plan. And some people think that we're changing Plan BTV in this process. We are not changing Plan BTV. The expectation was always that we would create an ordinance that reflected the vision of Plan BTV, and we embarked on that process with the Form-Based Code Committee. The ordinance that we have today came out of the work we did in the Form-Based Code Committee, which included 48 meetings. It wasn't a quick process. So some people have said that this is not consistent with Plan BTV, but I disagree. And I want to just explain, this is a document that I've brought it to all 48 form-based code meetings to make sure that the code we were developing was consistent with this plan. This ordinance comes out of this plan. And I want to read to you just a small part in Plan BTV that I think really speaks to the mall, speaks to the ordinance that we are putting forward on the ballot, and what we're trying to do with the TIF as well. With undeveloped airspace above the mall and a relatively high and flat area of the city that has little impact on prominent views, this quadrant of the downtown is well suited for larger residential structures. The plan suggests the addition of larger residential multi-use buildings by developing underutilized parcels. And it specifically asks to ensure that zoning regulations render the development of housing easier, reducing barriers and costs, and that we amend the official map to reestablish the connections of the streets. So we now have a question before us on the ballot to change the ordinance, and if that question were only, should we increase the height in our downtown, I would again vote no, but that is not what's before us on the ballot. Height is a small part of what this ordinance is about. This ordinance is about improving development in the downtown in multiple ways. So what was gained? Other than height, what is to be gained by the citizens of Burlington? How are we going to have better development under the new ordinance as compared with the old ordinance? The tallest buildings must be mixed use in the new ordinance and must provide some housing and affordable housing. The new ordinance requires breaks in massing throughout the building. It requires reduced floor plate sizes on the ground and very significantly as the buildings rise. It requires pedestrian-friendly interactive uses on the ground level. The parking must be wrapped on the first and second floors. Parking above that must be integrated into the building. There are glazing requirements to avoid the kind of solid wall effect that we have with the mall today. You're required to use quality building materials. there's improved stormwater management, and there's a LEED Gold standard that's required in this ordinance. We don't have any of those things in the existing ordinance. This is not just an increase in height. As I said, if it were, I'd vote no. The new ordinance assures that buildings have all of these elements which will make them more human scale. Human scale isn't a specific number. It's much about design. It's much about how the humans on the street are relating with those buildings. This project is environmentally sensitive, it's aesthetically pleasing, and provide both market rate and affordable housing. The increased height is in the place in our downtown identified in Plan BTV as the best place for increasing height. We're only at the beginning of the process in terms of design, and this project's going to continue to improve. We haven't even gotten to the point where public process usually begins, and if this property were developing under our existing ordinance, we would not have begun our public process yet. So I urge you to take advantage of the opportunity that's before us today to redevelop what, if you look around here, is largely vacant space in our downtown, and really create something that is going to benefit the community in multiple ways and improve the downtown experience, provide access to our public transportation center, which we've just built, that this is actually a barricade getting from the south end to that transportation center. So I hope you will all support this. There's a lot in it, and there's a lot of benefits for the community. Thank you.
Thank you, Joan. Now I'd like to invite up Kelly Devine, the Executive Director for the Burlington Business Association, another key partner in this coalition that has been working on this effort since the start. Kelly, thank you for being here.
Thank you. I represent the Burlington Business Association, which represents about 260 businesses in Burlington. We recently launched a collaborative group called Together for Progress, because we believe that this is a really exciting time in Burlington and that we have an opportunity to evolve this city in a really dramatic way to make it more vibrant. The members of Together for Progress include the Burlington Business Association, AARP, Greg is here, the Lake Champlain Regional Chamber of Commerce, Local Motion, and the Chittenden County Regional Planning Commission. Plus, we have about 300 additional businesses and organizations that have signed on to our mission to support the work that Together for Progress is doing, and some specifically this project. The successful redevelopment of this property is really key to our mission, because our mission includes things like more housing, the housing crisis is critical, better economic activity downtown, and better transportation access. We're asking everyone in Burlington to consider voting yes on ballot items 3 and 4 next Tuesday. If the project moves forward, it has an opportunity to really add new economic vitality downtown that has been lacking for a period of time. We have, quite frankly, lost businesses, specifically professional businesses that have left town. Gallagher Flynn is a good example. They went out to South Burlington. Our downtown businesses and our downtown restaurants and retailers have noticed a dramatic reduction in the volume of business that they see in the off-season, as well as during the midday Monday through Friday period. When people work downtown, they come downtown and they go to restaurants, they visit shops, they add to the overall vitality. The other thing that really adds vitality is when people live in a space, because they live here, they use the services here. We've seen the direct result of that kind of development and the impact that tax increment financing can have on it in places like Winooski, where we saw a lot of restaurants pop up. The south end of Burlington, new jobs came and new services and restaurants follow. So that's really an important factor to consider. Key thing for us is 1,300 permanent jobs created from this project. 1,300 permanent jobs created. 900 construction jobs created. Generation of $190 million annually in economic activity for the downtown. My members have been talking for a long time, 30 or 40 years, about how we create better connectivity throughout our downtown to the waterfront and north-south. This project gives us that. And most importantly, we have a model here that no longer serves our downtown well. It's a model that's dying nationally, It gives us an opportunity to create new vibrancy and new life right here in the middle of downtown. These benefits are too good to pass up. Let's not miss this opportunity to see what Burlington can be next. Please vote on Election Day and vote yes on ballot items 3 and 4. Thank you, Miro.
Thank you, Kelly. And finally, I'd like to invite up President Jane Knodell, who, along with 7 other members of the City Council, has formed this tripartisan coalition that has supported well, in this case, in ballot items 3 and 4. Ballot items 3 had 8 of 11 city councilors. Ballot item 4 had 10 of the 11 city councilors. It's been a privilege to work in partnership with you on this, President Knodell. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you very much, Mayor. So I just wanted to remind people of the protections for taxpayers and also about some other economic benefits in addition to the ones that you've heard. So with the tax increment financing, and Councilor Wright spoke to this, and he spoke about the fact that voting for the TIF, which is question 4, will protect residential property taxpayers. The council wanted to make sure that we built in a lot of protections in the tax increment financing. In the pre-development agreement that was adopted in May on a 10-to-1 vote, we included protections to ensure that the public improvements will be built and that the private improvements will be built and that we will not have an EB5 type situation in the city of Burlington. We also are, by protecting the taxpayer, by taking every measure we can to make sure that this property, this new development, successfully generates the tax revenues needed to service the debt issued in the tax increment financing. We did that by, number 1, waiting to issue the TIF debt until after phase 1 of the project is completed and after the public improvements, the new streets and sidewalks and lighting and trees and benches, have actually been built to our standards. It is then and only then that the new debt would be issued that's going to finance those public improvements, the streets, the sidewalks, the benches, the lights, etc. In addition, the owner has agreed that he's not going to contest the assessment of his property, and that we're going to agree, the city and the owner, on a property value assessment that is adequate to service the TIF debt. And so we tried to think of everything that we could do to make sure that the taxpayer benefits. And because of there is an intense desire among people to live in Burlington and among business owners to locate in Burlington, I think that the probability of success is extremely high. Now, there are some other economic benefits that we haven't mentioned that will accrue from day 1. It is the case that for 15 years, 75% of the new property taxes that would otherwise go to the state ed fund and city general fund are going to be directed to repaying the debt needed to build the improvements. Even so, from day 1, taxes on 25% of the new increment are immediately available for our general fund and for the state ed fund. In addition, from day 1, all the people who will be living and doing business will be paying for water, paying for wastewater, that goes to a city water department. They'll be paying for electricity, that's going to go to BED. The new parking is going to generate new revenues to the parking fund. So there are significant benefits from the scale of economic activity that's being proposed here. By having this many people, if this project moves forward, next step, just the next step, there are significant benefits to having this scale of a project. You start to reach critical mass in terms of mass transit. Our air quality is actually our number 1 environmental problem. We need more people living and working in Burlington, and that requires better mass transit, and this project is going to help us get there. There's also going to be, with this kind of critical mass of people living and working downtown, I see downtown residents as the big winners from this, because there's going to be finally the hardware store downtown. There's going to be finally the place where, more places where you can, there's no floors in downtown, I don't think, anymore. Are there dry cleaners downtown? Is there a butcher shop? There's going to be actually the ability to get everything you need downtown. So let's keep in mind all these significant economic benefits from voting yes on 3 and 4. We should vote yes on 1 and 2 as well. They all represent they represent Burlington saying, we're going to invest in ourselves. And we're going to invest in a better future for everybody in Burlington. We're going to invest in a better future for the environment. We're going to invest in a better future for working class people, lower income people. And a no vote would be saying no to this very significant economic benefit. So I'm here to strongly support 1 through 4, and thank you for inviting me there.